Hello. Do you believe in Santa Claus? My punks and my skins, boys and girls, instead of asking me if I believe in Santa Claus, the more pressing question, which you really ought to be asking yourselves, is if Santa Claus believes in you. Didn't I see you a hella long time ago carrying 2 car batteries down Lombard? Out on Lombard Boulevard here, deep in the industrial area, where the semi-trucks go whizzing past you with no regard at all to pedestrians, there used to be this little garage with a sign out in front which read, "Used or dead car batteries bought here, cash paid." And there was this one time that I seem to recall wherein I did not have the resources to purchase the resources which I was going to need for the upcoming weekend. And I knew that there were 2 old car batteries out in the garage, neither of which belonged to me. And I took those 2 batteries and I lugged them all the way to the bus stop, and I took them all the way out there to that industrial part of town, and I dragged them a quarter of a mile all the way to that little garage. And when I got there, the guy behind the counter, he looks at me and he says, "That's it? You just brought 2? And I looked at him and I said, "Well, how many more of those do you expect I would be able to carry? You know how heavy these are?" And he sort of puzzled over this, and then he had me sign a receipt, and then he handed me over the cash. $4 a piece. $8 I made that day. Just enough to get a bottle of Patter's vodka. So, yes, that ostensibly was me you saw on that particular occasion. Godfather, have you ever put a hit out on anyone before? Okay. I'm agreeable to answer the little questions that you send me, but I caution you, I will not engage questions like this. Don't be sending me questions like this. Just don't do that. Do you agree there is such a thing as white privilege? The concept behind the term white privilege is obviously, abundantly, incontestably there to be seen by everybody. I don't have to agree with it. There it is. My contention, should you ask, is with the designation, the term itself, white privilege. Whoever originated and came up with this entire concept and put it forth for everyone to consider, if they'd only given it a little more thought, they could have come up with a by far more powerful, more effective, and above all, more accurate designation for this concept. Why would you employ an adequate term for a very real concept when instead you could use one so much more empowered, with so much more of an impact, so much more spot-on accurate? That's where my argument rests. It's the same thing with kneeling. I have no contention with the purpose behind the movement, with the thought, the intention. It's with the action itself. Wrong approach. Right concept, wrong approach. Same thing here. The concept is right there, incontestably. It's the designation. There are other terms that they could have employed which would have been so much more suitable. What are those, you may well be asking me? Here again, it's a pity we don't have more time. I would list them all for you, and you would understand why they would make so much more of an impact, and you really wouldn't be able to argue with that, you know? It's too bad. You have these concepts which are rock solid and important in terms of exposure. You got to come up with the right terminology, though, to carry it the full course. So Devin once told me that you, him, Sean, and a bunch of the punks were all coming back from a show on the Max train to keep on partying out at their apartment, and that on the way there you got the entire Max train to sing the theme to Sesame Street? Is that true? I can honestly tell you, in all sincerity, hand to God, that to the best of my recollection, I have no recollection of ever having done any such thing. In fact, I have no recollection of anything that happened that night at all. In fact, I don't much remember any of those nights.